Hi, I'm here today. I'm actually not up the canyon today. I'm just sitting in my car. I was about to go to the store, but I've been thinking all weekend about this. Last week I posted a video that was all about the new handbook updates about specifically regarding transgender people in the church. And that video talked about what was entailed in the changes as well as the implications for people who are transgender, and also how it affects family and everything as well. But what I didn't talk about, and something that I've been thinking about, and not to make this about straight people at all, because it's not about straight people, but I still feel like there's a possible unintended consequence to this. So one of the things that, not one, but the things that I've been thinking about are those unintended consequences. And this is going to be a quick video because I don't have a lot really. I just kind of want to throw it out there. It's not an official video, I guess. But what are the unintended consequences? I was told, this was back, I want to say I was like 22, because I was pregnant with my second baby at the time. And this may be involved in another video another time, but I was pregnant with my second baby at the time. So I was about 22. I had one child. I was married. I was clearly pregnant. I was near the end of my pregnancy at the time this happened. There was a situation that happened, and my current husband at the time, not Ches, who I'm married to now, but my ex-husband, and I were talking to our bishop for something that isn't important right now, but we were talking to him. And I was a punk. I was a punk through high school and college. I had every color hair imaginable. I was always really cute. I think I was really cute, but I always had like these little short, like they were either spiky or pixie or, various types of haircuts. And at the time I had a short kind of bob. It was platinum blonde and very Marilyn Monroe type of style. Marilyn Monroe is a sex icon. Can we just agree to that? Okay, so think about this as I go on. During that meeting that I was talking to our bishop about, my ex-husband, he was there with me. I was there. My bishop was there. And the situation at hand wasn't really important specifically for this, but we were talking to him, and essentially I was being told as a woman how I needed to behave and look in order to fulfill my husband. And this bishop told me that my hair was too short, and that because it wasn't my natural color, that it was, I don't even remember the wording that he used, but he didn't like it. He didn't think it was natural, and I should be more natural. And he said I needed to have long hair. That was more feminine, and it would be more appropriate and more attractive to my husband. I also, as a punk at the time, I had kids and everything, but I was 22. I was still very, very young, and I dressed the part, I guess. I wore studded belts. I would wear, I had these jelly bracelets up and down my arms. They were rainbow jelly bracelets and stuff. And he told me that the jelly bracelets were inappropriate to wear because they indicated that I was a slutty little girl, and that did not reflect well on my worthy priesthood holding husband. And okay, because of this, this is the thing. He never indicated that he thought that I looked masculine or boyish. But the fact that this bishop was talking to me, and let me tell you too, the reason we were in there had nothing to do with me. It wasn't for me. It wasn't about me. It was turned around on me. And I was horrified, absolutely horrified by it. I was embarrassed. and also outraged, as you can imagine, which was, they can say that we, choose to be offended, blah, blah, blah. But I'm sorry, sometimes offense is the correct response, and I was offended. And that's just the tip of the iceberg, I think. My bishop didn't tell me I looked masculine anyway, and my haircut was not masculine. Again, Marilyn Monroe type style there was extremely, she was a sex icon. So it really wasn't about me looking like a boy. But with the transgender changes in the handbook, referring not only to people who have undergone medical and surgical transitions, but also just social transitions, meaning that they haven't had anything medically done or medicine or surgeries, but just the clothing that they wear and the names that they use. What if you what if you lose the bishopric roulette? What if you lose that and you get a bishop who thinks, you woman, you can't have a pixie haircut. That's too masculine. You can't have a temple recommend or teach the primary or be around the youth until you grow your hair longer. What if there is a man who is straight and wears a kilt to church, which, as far as I'm aware, that's fine. It's appropriate. It's a cultural thing. I know people have worn kilts to church. What about the church in Scotland and Ireland? What if there's men who do that? What about lavas? Men wear clothing is a social construct anyway, so clothing doesn't necessarily have anything to do with gender. But that's a thing that may become, that's a thing that I could see overzealous bishops and stake presidents and such getting all uppity about. What if there's a boy who has longer hairstyle? And not that, I don't remember if it's in the handbook or not anymore. The boys used to have to have a haircut that is off the collar. I don't think that's been a thing for a long time. But there are a lot of boys who have longer hairstyles, and it doesn't make them transgender, and it doesn't make them necessarily anything besides male. What if somebody has a longer hairstyle and the bishop thinks it's feminine? Does he not get to go to an overnight camp? I just feel like this opens a lot of doors for people to abuse the power and to control other people. As a woman, again, not to make it about anything except for transgender people, but here we go. As a woman in the church who never had any kind of autonomy or power to begin with anyway, and I'm going to talk a lot about that coming up. But as a person in the church who didn't have that kind of autonomy or choice, or, and my dress and my appearance has been regulated since the time I was born, that seems like a really viable possibility to me, that some bishop might feel like a short hairstyle on a straight girl isn't feminine enough, and he could withhold church responsibilities from her. And maybe, for me, that would be fantastic, because callings were always difficult for me. They made me go way outside of my comfort zone, and maybe that wouldn't be so bad. But for a lot of people, they want to be involved, and for them to be told that they can't have a certain hairstyle or dress a certain way. Women have just recently, in the last decade, really, it's become a not even in a decade, I think. I don't even think it's been a decade since sister missionaries have been allowed to wear pants, slacks, during their missions. Most of the times they've always been expected to wear skirts or dresses. And even largely, the pants it happens at church, but I think women are still expected mostly to wear dresses and skirts. But my daughter, who is beautiful and gorgeous, and she's bisexual, but she's still a she, her, and she's gorgeous and very Dove Cameron look-alike. Just beautiful. But she would always get flack whenever she'd wear slacks to church too, and she always looked very feminine. She didn't look like a man. She looked feminine, like she was wearing like a business kind of attire, and she was lovely, but she still got a lot of flack for it. So what if you get a bishop who is like, oh, women all have to wear dresses. You have to wear dresses all the time. They could very easily police that. You have to wear dresses every time you come to an activity. I literally had not recently, but probably I would say maybe 15 years ago, I had a bishop that insisted that women should not wear bare legs to church. They always needed to have nylons underneath their skirts. And it was Alabama. That would have been 16. It would have been 17 years ago. So, because my daughter is 16. We moved to Utah when she was 8 months old. So that was Alabama, and it was hot as heck in the summer. They would cancel church if it was too hot. I'm not even kidding you. And he insisted that women should never have bare legs. Always wear nylons. And that's not even policy. That's not in any kind of book anywhere, any kind of handbook. That's just what he said, and the women followed suit. I don't know. I didn't. I just did my thing, but I was young and I was a mom in the hallway, probably didn't garner any of his attention, but still, like, that was a really weird, bizarre thing for me to hear. And I think that these kinds of things can get really, really out of hand. So what are your thoughts about this? What have you thought about regarding this? What are the unintended consequences of these already bizarre and ludicrous new changes to the handbook? How do you think they're going to affect straight men and women and teenagers who do weird things with their clothing and their hair and their makeup and everything because they're still figuring themselves out? How is that going to affect people and the activity in the church? What about hairstyles and everything? Does that really affect our worthiness and whether or not we can work with children? Curious to know. If you'd like to email me, my email address is Brae, BRAE, .wordsofxmormon@gmail.com. You can leave a comment here. You can leave a comment on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, anywhere. I would love to hear from you. Let's talk about this thing. It's worthy of talking about. Thank you so much.